Hi, I'm Jonna Troxell,
And I'm Brian Troxell.
and we are Case on Films.
And we just completed our second or third feature, One Night of Fear, and we are on with the 13th Wolfman.
Hey everyone, you know who I am? I'm the 13th Wolfman. You know who I have with me? I have one of the producers, another one that's a producer and set manager and a director on the movie One Night of Fear. Brian Troxell and his wife Joanna, if I got that right.
Jonna.
Jonna, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So welcome to Sit Down, you two. I wanted to have you on. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the movie you got coming out and just talk about movies in general. I mean, so can you give us a synopsis of One Night of Fear?
One Night of Fear is based off the true stories that come out of the Ocala National Forest here in Florida, where it's a lot of campers and hikers that go missing or they find their bodies, 6 months later. So we just kind of based it very loosely on those tales. And it just follows a group of friends, a small group of friends that go out hiking and they run into some crazed guy in the woods, no rhyme or reason, and he basically traps them. They find themselves trapped in a home in the woods through one night. It just the whole film takes place through the course of one night until the following morning, and it's just trying to survive.
Those are the best ones, man. I mean, it's like the Town That Dreaded Sundown, the original. Loosely based on the murders that took place in the 40s. On Lover's Lane.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw is very loosely based on Ed Gein.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you don't follow it like right to the letter. Then it gives you a lot of liberties with it, and then you can do it pretty much whatever you want. I don't know if there's people that are running around in the woods up there like this, like we put in, but who knows? Maybe there is.
So are these stories that you heard growing up, or is this just something that you just heard recently? Or
no, they've actually been going on for about 30, 40 years. If you look up, like if you were to take a moment and Google the Ocala National Forest missing campers, you'll find a whole bunch of stories.
Like dating back almost like 1965. There have been unsolved murders and stuff like that in the Ocala National Forest.
Yeah, there were when I was a kid. The only movie that ever scared the hell out of me was Race with the Devil with Peter Fonda, Warren Oates, Loretta Swit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but the whole movie takes place and it's all about these Satanists chasing them down through Texas. Well, when I was a kid, I lived next door to these woods, and when I was a kid, there was stories about Satanists in the woods. So this movie freaked me out. And it's those stories. Those are the ones that just get underneath your skin. They're the ones that you think could be true.
Yeah, well, that was something we've always tried to do is do stories that could actually happen in real life. I find that the most interesting and the most intriguing, instead of doing supernatural or stuff that you don't really come across too often, but things that could actually happen in real life. I find that the most scariest.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite scary films?
Nightmare on Elm Street I always liked. The original, I mean, like the first couple, but with anything, once it gets into 4, 5, and 6, I kind of lose interest. But Halloween, Friday the 13th, those were the classic ones from the 80s. They're the ones that I really like, and I still rewatch them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Halloween was for me. That was the be all of movies that I remember growing up. I could never watch the whole thing, and for 2 weeks straight, I'd be looking around every corner, losing sleep. I think it was until after we got married, it was like finally in my 30s when I actually sat down and watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I'm like, what the hell was I so scared of?
Yeah. Like I said, man, Race with the Devil is the only one that scared the hell out of me, and that just freaked me out. Living next to woods and all that stuff. My neighbor, my best friend at the time, was just one of those guys that just like to antagonize people. Go, dude, we'll go out there late one night and we'll watch. And Yeah, there were things going on in the woods. They're called parties. You know, and these were hippies.
Every area has one of those, because I know where we came from, Pennsylvania, we had one that was called Texas Road. And when we were growing up, half of it was paved, the other half was just like a dirt road. And the stories we were always told that this is where the Hells Angels went and they killed people. So they scared everybody not to go down this road. And as you got older, teenager and stuff, you realize that's where everybody went to park, you know, to make out, whatever, you know, drink, smoke. So I think a lot of places have these areas just to, you know, they scare you, but it's not really urban legend, yeah. So
now that sounds like a cool idea for another movie. You don't have to use the Hells Angels, but just like, you know, just some made up biker gang, but you know, yeah. I like that idea. So your first foray into the movies was in like 2008, 2009 with Grieve.
Yes. It hurts to admit it, but yes.
Well, I mean, not everyone's first movie's great, you know?
No, we started out doing short films because we felt that it would help us learn from our mistakes as we went, because we really didn't have a background in filmmaking. So we started doing with shorts, and yeah, Grieve was our first, and it was just horrendously awful. But we progressively got better as we went, and that was the main point. We always felt that if our current project turns out better than the last project, we knew we were on the right track. And that's kind of how we grew, you know, through the years doing it.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of filmmakers lately that have like no film background whatsoever. Like Joe Stauffer, who did Pieces of Talent, Billy Pond, who's done Circus of the Dead. You know, they're all like, I didn't go to film school. You know, and it seems like they're pushing out some real cool stuff because they're trying, you know, what no one's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know, you know, you'll have a lot of people with the filmmaking and stuff like that, like, oh, you know, everybody's a filmmaker now because of digital cameras and stuff like that. But you still have to have an eye for it. You know, you don't have to go to school. If somebody's naturally born with the ability, like Steven Spielberg. Okay, yes, did he ever go to school? I don't think he did.
Yeah, he went to UC. I think he went to UCLA with Lucas.
Okay.
Oh, that must have been a long
But
class.
still, I mean, you know, you go to school and stuff like that, but it's just like any type of artist, you know, you got to be born with that ability to be able to see something.
Well,
you
yeah.
can't teach that. So, I mean, once they don't go to film school, you know, you have a vision and something, you can, you know, film it.
So. No, it's so true. But I mean, like some of the best people, like Tarantino.
Yeah.
You know, he was a video store clerk. That's it. He watched a lot of movies, and he understood how the setups worked, and you know, and he learned how to copy.
Yeah. But they're still nice though. I still like watching them.
He's one of my favorite all-time directors.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the thing I like the most about his movies is always his music choice. I just love the obscure music that he finds, or the stuff that you haven't heard in like forever.
He pulls out like Dick Dale and the Deltones, you know, or something, and you're just kind of like, dude. I mean, I know who they are because you know I heard that music growing up, but
yeah,
no one's putting that in there, you know. It's so cool too.
Yeah.
So you say that you're in post right now.
Yes.
And it's maybe like another month.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at. About another month. Because we want to be ready for the submissions into the film festivals that run in October, but they always open up for submissions like around June, July is when they start taking them. So we want to be ready for that. So that's what we're.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is are you going to go film festivals and? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because there's a lot of film festivals. There's a ton, and that's the thing, and the ones in the fall are usually the more of the horror style, you know, because it comes out around Halloween and stuff, October. And like I said, those film festivals will open up real soon, start taking submissions. So we want to be ready for that. So yeah, I mean, definitely want to go to the festival circuit.
Yeah, we have there's I think 2 conventions right now that are interested. They want to have it in their film festival at the
Oh yeah.
So
Can you
yes.
say which ones?
It's one in Daytona Beach. I can't think of the name at the top of my head.
Okay. So
I
it's
mean,
down there.
I could tell you, it isn't like it's a secret, but it's in Daytona, and it's a new one.
It's a newer one. But they're looking for like movies and stuff were based like stories behind Florida. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. I just love watch. I mean, I love interviewing more. I'm not trying to say obscure, but more underground directors. You know, it's like I get to talk to them about these films that I mean, I just want to see every now and then. It's like a few weeks ago I interviewed Oklahoma Ward who did Crawl or Die, and dude, that movie is crazy. I mean, crazy claustrophobic. I mean, if you have claustrophobia problems, you would probably lose it. I mean, but yeah.
What was the name of that? There was a movie I can't remember. Maybe about 15 years ago. They kept building a box around them. And they were crawling. And the whole time it was like they were actually boxed into their house, and it was nothing but little tunnels, and they had to crawl through it.
And they ended up, because it was like a woman, and the guy that was doing it to her, and she ended up at the very end of this tunnel, whatever. She was crawling into a coffin, and after she crawled in, he kind of like shut it off, nailed it, and she was actually in the back of his pickup, and he just drove her off in the desert and buried her alive. It was pretty weird.
Can't remember the name. That was a freaky movie, just because it was just a small little crawl space throughout the whole movie.
And then throughout the movie, the crawl space she was crawling through just kept getting smaller and smaller until she actually ended up having to get on her stomach, and she crawled through this opening, and she was actually crawling into her own coffin.
Okay, now I got to look this up and find it.
And I don't.
It sounds familiar, but I'm just kind of like, okay, that's it. I need to see this now. I do. I love twisted stuff like that, you know. If you could like write or direct or produce any classic horror film, what would it be?
A classic horror film.
Yeah.
I know mine.
What's that? Oh my God! It would probably have to be. I go back to Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one, because I like Robert Englund. I've met him, a really nice guy, and he'd be somebody I'd love to work with. But yeah, I think that would definitely be my choice.
Yeah, that's very cool. Mine would either be like The Wolfman or The Hills Have Eyes, because I've always wanted to meet Michael Berryman. You know, so it's another Wes Craven film. So.
See, now mine would have been Jaws.
Jaws.
Oh my God.
She likes Spielberg.
I guess I do. Yeah. But Jaws, I have actually the Jaws recorded on my DVR. I mean, it's like maybe 2 years old, but I love watching it. I not just Jaws, any of them, just the classics, because that was like the first time it was ever seen on film. You know what I mean? Yeah. And nowadays, there's so much repetition. They're repeating everything, nothing new, and that's why I always like going back to the classics, because that was like the first time.
Well, that's the movie that that and Psycho are the two movies that prove that sound is very effective in horror.
Yes.
Yeah. Psycho with the stabbing of the knife in the shower scene, and Jaws with that music.
Yeah.
That music just builds tension, because you don't see the shark for like 45 minutes.
No.
I mean, you see the aftermath of what the shark has done.
Yeah.
But you don't see Bruce. So yeah, Jaws. I actually have that on Blu-ray. It looks really, really good on Blu-ray.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't have it on Blu-ray.
Huh?
I don't have it on Blu-ray. I guess I need to.
They've released it enough times. I mean, I think it's been released like 3 or 4 times now on Blu-ray in different packages. So You know, I think it's always on sale somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite worst movie of all time?
My favorite worst movie?
Yeah.
Oh, Transylvania 65000.
Oh wow.
Now you have to think about that one. I watched that movie at least 50 times in the theater when it was at the Dollar Theater years back in the 80s.
Yeah. Hey, we're probably close to the same age, so.
Yeah, that was my. I love Carol Kane in that movie, and it was just awesome.
That was Carol Kane and Jeff Goldblum and
Yeah,
yeah.
That was awful.
He
made me sit through it the one time. He's like, "Oh, you never seen this movie before?" I'm like, "No, I never even heard of it." I was like, "Ugh."
Oh, it's great.
I think I might have gone through maybe 10 minutes of it. I'm like, "No, I can't.
It was all camp. That's the thing. It's just over the top camp. You know, it's kind of like Saturday the 14th.
Yes.
Our Private Eyes with Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
Yeah.
You know. What about you?
I don't know if worst movie. I don't.
She can't watch them. I'll find them even now on Netflix, and I say, "You gotta watch this."
Because I don't even want to say it's a worst movie, but I mean, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. But I don't even want to say that's a worst movie because
it's what you consider a worst. I mean, you know, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, there's those movies where you'll sit through it even though you know it's bad.
Oh no, I got it. What Bulldozer?
Oh, Killdozer.
Killdozer. Yeah. See, now you get it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, you don't want to slam something that you know is good, but it's like there are those movies where in the 80s they were coming out hand over fist, and like not all of them were going to be gems, and for some reason you wind up going, this one's on again. Okay, I'll watch it. You know, I mean, you guys are products of the 80s. You know that Smokey and the Bandit was on every weekend on cable.
Yes.
Yeah.
For like about 5 years straight.
Yes. I still see it. It's on now. I mean, it's when I go through the listing on TV, I'll find it up on some obscure channel somewhere, and I'm like, this thing's still being played. It's like it's crazy.
Well, you know, they say Gilligan's Island never went off the air. After it got canceled, it never went off the air. It was playing somewhere in the country or around the world for like 40 years.
I know.
and they only had what, like 7 seasons of it?
3
there. I know it wasn't that many before it ended, and then it's been, oh my God, forever.
Well, the sad thing is that the cast went back and sued Sherwood Shorts for like royalties. They only got paid for the first 6 reruns of each show.
Oh my gosh.
And it's never gone off the air after like 40 years, you know, so. Yeah, but that's the way it was written, because no one was thinking reruns were ever going to be popular.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, who's going to watch a rerun? You've seen the show already. You know what happens.
Yeah.
But then, you know, Star Wars comes out and everyone's seen it like a gazillion times, and, you know.
Oh, you still got to watch it every time.
Yeah. That's like Back to the Future. I've seen Back to the Future probably more. Back to the Future and Pulp Fiction are probably the 2 movies I've seen more than anything.
Yeah.
I saw Back to the Future like 6 times when it first came out on the first day.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah. Me and my best friend went down to see the movie, and it's like we just sat there in the theater. They never kicked us out. We just sat there, and they would come and clean the theater, and they'd leave, but they never kicked us out. Okay, fine. We wanted to see how long we could do it. It's like we saw all 6 showings of that day. So.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So you looking forward to the new Star Wars coming out?
Yeah, actually I am. It's really weird. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You know how there's people that just don't mesh the two?
Yeah.
I could take both sides. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the new Star Wars movie. We were talking about it last week on the Dorkening when the trailer got released, you know, and debating on whether or not Darth Vader's alive or Anakin's alive or dead, you know, because of the way Luke said something in the trailer, you know, What about yourself? You guys Star Wars fans?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, you can't see it on the screen. I got my lightsaber over hanging on the wall.
I see it. So yeah, it's right behind his ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy that records this for me, Leo, he has got. I think he told me he's got every release of Star Wars on every kind of media.
Oh wow.
You know, I almost as he speaks. But yeah, almost. I don't know if he has any beta Star Wars, but you know the Beta Max. Huh?
Who would have beta now?
No, just to collect them. I mean, he's got like he's got like VHSs and laser discs and all the different things. But I don't know if he has any. I don't think he has any betas.
Well, we did. We picked up the complete set when it came out with all 6, and
the saga.
And we sat and watched. So one weekend, we just vegged out and watched all of them in sequence.
What do you guys think of the new 3 movies? Honestly,
I don't like them. 4, 5, and 6. When they first came out, that's to me that was Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even though I went to see him when he did 1, 2, and 3, I mean I seen him. I just never got into him like I did originally.
Right. You don't think the story holds up though?
The story holds up. I think I found, at least my opinion was, in some areas, not all, but in some moments, it seemed like he forgot to close like some of the gaps, bridge some of the storylines, and he went back afterwards and tried to rush it, and some things just didn't mesh for me. Some things it's to me like sounds stupid, but like he forced things to go a certain way so it would make sense to the movies that were out first. And
Right.
it just, I don't know, I just didn't care for them.
I mean, they're okay only because, but 4, 5, and 6, that's what we seen in the 80s and stuff like that, and the progression about Darth Vader and stuff like that. Now to come out with 1, 2, and 3, it's kind of, you already know. I mean, there were good movies. I thought the storyline was good and stuff like that. But it's after the fact.
There's no surprise at the end of at the end of like 3 where Anakin puts out, like, yeah, it's not coming.
I just feel bad for the guy who played Darth Vader in the original one, and Anakin when he died and stuff, and they changed it in the remake, and they put the actor that played young Anakin in his place. I feel bad for that original actor. It's like, well, he just lost his spot after all these years.
Well, yeah, it was really weird. It's like, so you have David Prowse in the original Star Wars. David Prowse is the guy that walked around in Darth Vader's outfit.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones was the guy that did the voice for Darth Vader while David Prowse walked around. And then when he died, they unveiled him, and it was a third guy. It was Sebastian. I can't think of his last name, but someone that, so this is what he looks like. David Prowse isn't even good enough to be looked like, it's like, it's like I clunked around this thing for 3 years or for 3 different movies, So, Brian, if you want, did you want to introduce the trailer for the?
Sure. I never introduced a trailer before, so.
Okay, well, just
He's getting ready.
give it a quick little go. It's like, hey, this is our trailer. Check it out.
This is our trailer for One Night of Fear. Should be coming out of post in a month. Sit back. I hope you enjoy it. We should have a new trailer coming out in a day or 2 as well, second trailer. But until then, enjoy the first one.
job. Look out! Okay, you're gonna stay here, okay? We'll be right back. Let's go.
Hey everyone, tell me, what did you think of that trailer? Looked great to me. Brian, I want to thank you guys for coming on. You're going to be around for the live show. I know that much, so is there anything you guys want to promote a little bit more? Do you have a website? Do you have where people could follow you or?
Yeah, we have a website for the film is onenightofear.com. And we have our Facebook page, which is Case on Films Orlando. They can find us on Facebook. And there is also then on Facebook a fan page for the movie. So that would be Facebook, One Night of Fear. They can find the fan page.
And check us out.
Sounds good to me. And with that, I want to say thank you to Brian and Jonna. I just screwed your name.
Right?
Okay, and it does for some reason it didn't sound right in my head. And Jonna for coming on with that on the 13th Wolfman. Now I'm on the prowl.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.